All right, good Wednesday evening, everyone. We have the tropics to talk about. We got Hurricane Beryl that's churning and basically side-swiped Jamaica today. The eye actually started to become more visible on satellite this afternoon, and then encountering some land across Jamaica. It looks like it's starting to tear it apart just a little bit right now, and encountering some more shear. So that's good news that of it. It could be on a weakening trend for now. But on the other hand, if you're just now joining us, click that thumbs up button, share this with your friends and family, and comment where you're from. We're going to have the 4th of July forecast. We're going to go over some severe weather, some future radar as well. If you're over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It's like liking a page on Facebook. Hit that subscribe button, hit all notifications. You'll be notified every time we go live over on YouTube. All right, we're going to go over tomorrow's weather. Independence Day, July 4th. A lot of people got a lot of plans. Well, looks like there's a chance of storms over most of the area except for Texas. 101 for Dallas, 100 for San Antonio. Over towards Midland, Lubbock, there is a chance of storms out that way. 92 for Amarillo. We go up towards Denver, chance of storms. We go towards Wichita, Springfield, St. Louis, Kansas City. Down even towards Little Rock, Oklahoma City, chance of storms tomorrow as well. Still going to be hot, 90s to 100 with heat index readings over well over 105 in a few areas. We get out towards Chicago, 79 degrees, some showery conditions. Louisville, 87. Charleston, 85. Good chance of storms. 96 Nashville, 93 Atlanta. Down here towards Charleston, 89. And Washington, D.C., 94 degrees for tomorrow. So let's take a look at the severe weather threat for your Independence Day. All right, severe weather for Thursday. May have slight risk up here towards northern Arkansas into northeastern parts of Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, most of the southern 3/4 of Missouri. And then there's going to be a little spot up here towards northern Iowa into Minnesota, into Wisconsin, slight risk. Everywhere else has a marginal risk of these dark greens, including parts of Texas, all the way through Oklahoma, basically parts of central Arkansas here, through right around Memphis, through most of Tennessee, all of Kentucky, and all the way to towards the East Coast, including Washington for tomorrow. So, like I said, severe thunderstorms will be possible on Independence Day, mainly across parts of upper Mississippi Valley, Ozarks, and South Central Plains. Looks like there could be mostly a wind and hail risk for tomorrow, a straight line wind risk. There is an outside chance of a tornado out there. It's a non zero, but still there's going to be a tiny bit of a threat of a tornado threat out there for tomorrow as well. All right, let's go into Friday here. Friday outlook, just general thunderstorms through most of the United States. And the marginal risk is out here towards Kentucky into West Virginia and Ohio for Friday. All right, here's the current hazards across the United States. Flash flood watches across parts of Missouri over towards St. Louis. You can see where the Missouri River Valley is under flood warnings. Mississippi River Valley under flood warnings with major flooding in parts of the Mississippi River Valley as well. Down here towards the south, heat advisories in the orange and in the pink, excessive heat warnings. Same out here in the west. Going to get hot out here, and it's going to possibly cool down in about 7 days or so across the central parts of the area in response to that trough coming down, and could pick up the Hurricane Beryl and head it towards Texas and possibly have some impacts into Texas, into Louisiana, possibly Arkansas next week. We'll see how this plays out. But here's the current hazards as of Sunday night, or sorry, Wednesday evening. Sorry about that. All right, as we head through the overnight hours tonight, you can see a few pop-up storms here and there across southern Missouri and in northern Arkansas, and the big complex of storms starting to form out here towards the plains, and that's just going to rocket towards parts of Kansas City through mid-Missouri. That's why that flood watch is out through St. Louis, and then as we go through tomorrow afternoon, more storms will pop up across Oklahoma into northeastern Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas. Then as we go towards 9 o'clock tomorrow night, where fireworks celebrations will start getting underway. There could be some storms around, basically from just southwest of St. Louis through Springfield, possibly northwestern Arkansas, and then all the way down just south of Oklahoma City. And these will start heading into the 10 o'clock hour across south central Missouri into northern Arkansas, 10 o'clock tomorrow night. There's 11, 12. Lots of storminess across St. Louis, all the way down towards northeastern parts of Arkansas, and some hit or miss storms all the way back into northeastern Oklahoma. Storms starting to die out here in parts of Texas. And then as we get towards later in the night, this complex storms could roll into parts of Kentucky, into Tennessee as well. And then 5 o'clock hour in the morning on the 5th, you got more storms across the parts of the I-40 corridor through Oklahoma, through maybe Fort Smith, Arkansas. And then those will start heading south and maybe even Dallas to northeastern parts of Texas, getting in some storms on Friday morning. This is around 10 o'clock. You see some scatter storms even all the way down into parts of northern Louisiana as we go towards the noon hour on the 5th, which is Friday. All right, here is Hurricane Beryl. You can see it was really well organized as it approached Jamaica coast here. Here's Jamaica right here. And then it kind of skirted along the southern coast here. And now the eye wall was starting to pop out, and all of a sudden the convection is starting to go away. And looks like a weakening trend is going to start. It was encountering some landmass out here. You could see these thunderstorms blowing off the tops here. That's wind shear, and it's starting to attack the system pretty well now. So I think this is going to be on a weakening trend, but we'll see how this plays out, because no model has been perfect on this at all with intensity. The WRF model has been doing a decent job. The rest of the models have been basically trash on the intensity on the system. So it is overachieving all the way along here. So this is worrisome as we head towards late weekend into early next week. Texas to possibly Louisiana need to be on high alert for this system because it's going to come across the Yucatan Peninsula, um, then reemerge over the Gulf of Mexico, and could strengthen pretty quickly across the southwestern parts of the Gulf of Mexico. And does it go into Mexico or does it go up towards Texas into possibly Louisiana? We'll have to kind of wait and see for the next couple days. But my my hunch was at the beginning that this was going to overproduce for one. These things, especially if you get all the right ingredients together, which they were, these things can blow up in a hurry. I think this thing went up 90-mile-per-hour winds, basically from tropical depression to a major hurricane in I think 24 to 36 hour time. So these things can blow up fast, and they love to blow up overnight. It seems like so. You could go to sleep, and this thing could be a tropical storm over the Yucatan Peninsula coming out to the Gulf, and then you can wake up the next morning. It could be a Cat 3 again. So, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Hopefully, it doesn't, but we'll see how this plays out. But let's take a look at the latest National Hurricane Center track here. All right, here's the latest from the National Hurricane Center as of the intermediate advisory at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sustained winds are down to 130 miles per hour. This thing is moving west northwest at 20 still. They're thinking it could go more west here soon. We'll see how it plays out. But like I said, when the cone of uncertainty is including most of southern Texas here. So this is just where the center of the circulation could go. So if the center of circulation hugs the upper line here and goes up towards southwestern or southeastern parts of Texas, there's going to be impacts in parts of Louisiana, possibly tropical storm force winds even. So this, even though you may think like, oh, that I'm not in the path, it's not going to work, it's not going to hit me at all. Well, like I said, this is the track of the center of the storm. So even if the center comes up over here towards Texas, there's going to be far-reaching impacts into possibly Louisiana, and with some storm surge as well, because you're going to be on the right side of that system, and that's where all that storm surge will come in. So we'll gotta stay up on the weather here. The track keeps slowly shifting northeast. So we got to keep an eye on this thing over the weekend, and I'm really really tuning in, especially as we go into Friday. What the intensity is when it makes landfall here, because if it's still pretty strong hurricane, it may not have a chance to diminish into a tropical storm before it reaches open waters again, which is very worrisome. Okay. Now, like I said, the WRF model has been doing a very good job at this. Intensity wise, we're going to go over all the tracks as of right now. There'll be another advisory out, by the way, at 10 o'clock regarding this system. So, but I do believe there's going to be a weakening trend continuing on this for a little bit. Just got to see how this plays out. But it's already down. It's down to 130 mile per hour winds now. It was at 140 the last advisory, so it's coming down. The pressures are starting to come up, and you can tell by the satellite picture with that land interaction, plus a little bit of land interaction, plus that wind shear's really starting to eat at it now. So this could weaken it, like I said, some. But this has been overachieving for a long time. So, all right, let's take a look at the latest tracks. All right, here's the latest hurricane model tracks. You can see every model on the right side of your screen here. So it has a decent path going from just around Jamaica, which I believe it was a little bit north of here. And skirting the coast. So these models are already off on track. So that in itself is concerning. So to me, I would probably follow right in the middle of this path here, and guess where it's going to end up? Into Texas. So, but some of these models are taking, even a lot of these models are taking it to South Texas and stalling it. That could be a very bad situation flooding wise, if it goes like that and stalls. But this trough is coming into parts of the northern plains here, and I think my hunch is it's going to try to pick it up and shove it into Texas and then try to shove it northeast. So um, we'll see what happens here. But the track, remember, 2, 3 days ago, the track was heading into the southern Yucatan here, barely brushing through parts of the southwestern parts of the Gulf of Mexico and heading it right into Mexico. And I didn't really buy that because of that trough coming in and that stronger trough coming in and that high pressure shoving off into Florida and just off the southeast coast. Because if that happens, then it's going to take this right hook here and come right through into Texas. So if that right track happens, it won't stay over the Yucatan very long. It'll basically hit the um, like I said, Yucatan Peninsula there very briefly, and then probably re-strengthen pretty quickly, and then head towards Texas. So, like I said, Texas is to me my bullseye at the moment. Along anywhere in Texas, and the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, you're not out of the woods yet. I think you still will have some effects with this in regards to storm surge and some tropical storm conditions coming into parts of, especially southwestern Louisiana along the Gulf Coast. So stay up on the forecast here for sure. Let's go over a couple other models here. Then I'm going to show you the wharf model and what it's showing. All right, here's the latest GFS model, which I think is starting to get a little bit better handle on it. But I think it's still the center, especially the deterministic and the control is still a little bit too far south to me. So the ensemble means is the black squares. So I think more than I think it's all, basically all got a hit on Texas. So like I said, Gulf Coast of Texas needs to be on high alert, even into um, southwestern quarter of Louisiana along the Gulf Coast need to be on alert because even though the center may come into landfall may happen in Texas, you're going to be on the right side of that system and with a lot of fetch off the Gulf of Mexico, and it's going to pile that water up. So you're going to have some storm surge issues, possibly high wave action, and flooding and some tropical storm conditions across that area. You see some of the tracks take it back here and stall it, and then a lot of tracks take it up and then take it through Arkansas, then go up northeast as this trough starts swinging through, so and picking it up basically. So that's that. So let's take a look at the wharf model, which I think has been doing a very decent job at the intensity and track so far. So let's take a peek at that before let you go for the rest of this evening. All right, I'm gonna wait for this to come back, and I'll kind of go over it, but it's gonna stop. It's gonna start right back at here's Jamaica, gonna come across the Yucatan Peninsula, and then this is where, to me, this is not doing as well. It's not striking it hardly at all when it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. This model's been doing a very good job, but I don't think it's doing a good job now um, as far as the strengthening phase when it gets back out over the Yucatan, which is here it goes over back over the very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and then shoves it into southern Texas. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out, but I think miles starting to pick up on Texas, basically southern Texas, along the Gulf Coast there, even into southeastern Texas, need to be on alert. Even if you don't get landfall in your area, if you're on the right side of this system, you're going to get water piled up against the coast. So you're going to have some storm surge issues, coastal flooding, some big swells coming in as well through on the beaches. Could have impacts all the way to Louisiana, even with maybe some tropical storm conditions. It just depends on where this actually makes landfall at. All right. So that's the latest as of right now. We'll have nightly briefings going forward all throughout the holiday, through the weekend as well. So stay tuned with us. Uh, like I said, if you're just now joining us, you can go back and watch this here in just a minute. But please click that thumbs up button. It helps out our page and the algorithms to reach everybody. And please comment where you're from. That helps out tremendously. All right. Have a great evening. We will talk to you tomorrow evening.